Well, welcome back, boys and girls. Ladies and gentlemen, this is another amazing show of Real Estate Uncensored. Now, we have our trusted co-host, Alyssa Glutz, a.k.a. Color My Credit, rocking hard in the co-pilot seat today. But we got a guest, guys. We have a major, that's right, a major, awesome human being. She got out of the military as a major. She knows how to fly circles around clients and just make the plane land so that you guys get more success. She's going to break us down checklists. We're going to walk through protocols. We're going to see how she's grown her real estate business, which, by the way, she has zero regrets walking away from prior careers. She loves real estate. You guys are going to get a lot of knowledge. Make sure you take notes, get a pen and paper out. You millennials, get your thumbs warmed up, get your iPhones ready, take some notes. Before we get to our awesome guest, Alyssa Glutz, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad to be here. I can't wait to hear from Major Alyssa, man. This is going to be great. I'm pumped up.
Guys, what you don't know about Alyssa, she actually runs two other very successful podcasts, plus a crew of agents, and she's going to come and knock socks off. So, Alyssa, welcome, my dear friend. So glad to have you here.
Greg and Alyssa, thank you so much. I'm honored to be on this podcast.
Well, let's break down for the folks who don't know you yet a little bit of your back history, your story, so people can kind of get a grasp of who you are, what you're going to do in this show to make their businesses better, besides just being able to see your strikingly awesome face and wonderful personality.
Oh, thank you so much, Greg.
I love Greg, man. He's great.
I know. I feel great.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So a little bit about me is I was in the Air Force. I was active duty for a decade and I've lived in 8 different states. Originally, I'm from New York. I joined to pay for college. I didn't join for, any sort of sense of, maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but, I didn't join it because of Go USA. I joined because college was fucking expensive. So to pay and my parents were cash flowing it. My dad is in real estate as an investor, not an agent. And I just felt bad because I went to college in 2008 to 12. So that was kind of the worst time for 2 kids to go to college.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what can I do for my parents as a thank you, immigrant parents from Peru, from Puerto Rico. And I was the first one to graduate from college. So I was like, you know what? Let me just, as a thank you, let me sign up for the service. And it's a 4-year commitment, active duty, then 4 years, in inactive duty. And I thought that 4 years would end there, but I kind of just strung along. It was a good career because 2012, a lot of my friends a lot of my peers weren't having success getting jobs, even with their bachelors, because having a bachelor means nothing now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so fast forward, I did served for a decade, and that took me to where I am right now in Tucson, Arizona. I separated as a major, and for anyone that's served in the military, they know what this is like. As you serve and you get the automatic promotions, which just come with time, right? As long as you don't kill anybody, they come with time. And then you get those golden handcuffs. Like you really feel the sense of, holy crap, I only have 10 more years and then I can retire and get a pension for the rest of my life. Not that that pension is enough to live off of, but it's still pretty significant. $5,000 if you're an officer, that's pretty good. So I started to feel that more and more as the longer I stayed in, but I was miserable. I did not enjoy it. I was moving every 2 years. I couldn't hold a relationship because of that. It just affected all areas of my life. I had insomnia, I had anxiety, I had depression, dude, everything. And I was on every pill.
Holy mackerel.
Dude, it was bad. Yeah. So
what was really the most was it the countdown in your head? You know what I'm saying? Of going 10 more years, 9 more years. You know how we kind of go, well, I can make it until this point, and then you start that countdown in your head. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's like, oh man, I can't wait until the next rank. And then you make the next rank and, it comes with a pay increase, but it's still not too crazy. I was so stuck in the W-2 mindset that entrepreneurship hadn't really crossed my mind. And specifically being a real estate agent, I thought they were all bimbos with high heels. And I'm not like that. I wear this is what I wear. I usually wear a backward hat too. I'm like, there's
a lot of men like that. That's just the way it is. I'm just kidding.
Bimbos goes for men too. Absolutely.
It does.
I've seen some heels before, I'll tell you. No.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just started digging into it more, being at the depth of my depression while I was active duty, I was like, what can I do to just gain autonomy over my life? I need time freedom. I want to choose where I want to fucking live. I want to
Yeah.
just go on vacation whenever I want. So much. So I had made the decision to leave 4 years prior to me leaving. The reason I didn't is because I wanted to make sure I was set up financially because they paid me well every 2 weeks. Cool, excellent, as long as Congress gets their shit together.
Yeah. Don't shut the
Sometimes
government
that's
down.
questionable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was investing, into my 401k, which is the TSP, the Roth IRA. I was investing in real estate, doing everything that I could. So I separated as a major and as a millionaire after a decade of service. And at that point, I had some runway. I had cash in the bank. I had some runway to be able to play with this thing that is being a realtor. I had been a realtor. I got licensed in 2021. So I've only been a realtor for 2 years. And the first year of me doing it, I was still active duty because I am not the one to just jump in with both feet. I'm very analytical. I'm very risk averse, actually. So I figured my
Smart, but
last year, yeah. I figured my last year in the military, I would be also a full-time agent. I did 20 transactions. And at that point, I started getting too many leads to handle. And I know how that sounds, but I was working my ass off, like 2 full-time jobs. I was still traveling with the Air Force, and separating is like, anybody that's ever separated, no one knows how to guide you through that. You have to learn, because obviously there's no like separation crew. Hey, you want to separate? Figure it out. See you later.
Right.
So
That's a
doing
struggle,
that,
I've heard.
yeah, plus like the
Yeah.
buyers and sellers. So at that point I was like, okay, I just want to match my income that I was making. And I matched it by month 8 of me being a realtor.
Wow.
My entire annual salary, which I felt so, golden handcuffed to, like, I can't leave this. I'm going to be leaving $5,000 on the table in 10 years. And everyone that I was talking to in the military was like, oh my gosh, you only have 10 more years. Like, do you know how that sounds? Only
Blinding. It's
10
like
more years?
horrible.
So when you, I actually want to dive into that psyche thought pattern a little bit, because a lot of people, they get pigeonholed in the golden handcuffs quite a bit in the W-2 and in entrepreneurship. But there's a way to dig yourself out. Like you said, you didn't have a crew to walk you through step by step. How do you detangle yourself from this last part of your life, a very significant part of your life? And people that are in the real estate world, both agents and investors, there is a trigger point that I have found for most folks, not everybody, but for most folks, there's either a positive or a negative event that really pushed them right over the edge. And they said, forget about it. I'm going to change my life. I want to do something different. So was there a trigger in your life that you said, you know what? Enough bullshit is enough fucking bullshit. I am going to make a shift one way or another. Now, you don't have to share that. I just want to, if you want to, you can. I would love to hear it. But if you don't, that's fine. But was there that moment when you just said, you know what? Fuck it, I'm out?
I am more than happy to give specifics. But overall,
She's naming names. Let's go.
No, okay. I'm not going to name names. But overall, it was just the whenever you work for a huge corporation or, the DOD, there are so many layers, and at something that comes from the top down doesn't make sense by the time it's at the bottom level. If that makes sense,
Yes.
There's it's the game of telephone. Like, hey, great. Like, I understand your intention with XYZ, but by the time you're doing it boots on ground, it doesn't make sense. So there were, I don't know, some things, like, for example,
you're talking about the exit plan, kind of like the exit plan from
what triggered me to be able to,
yeah,
to call it quits is I was deployed. I went, I went to Afghanistan, and at that point I had finished my 4-year commitment, which is all I needed to do to pay back my ROTC scholarship. And I did an extra year, and I volunteered for deployment. I'm doing all the things that I'm told to do, right? And I was like, you know what? I don't think I want to do this. This is year 5. I was like, I think this is going to be it. I think I'm going to separate when I get back to the States. I think I want to separate from there. I don't know what I'm going to do. Not feeling it. At that point, I had been receiving a ton of like inbound from higher up requesting, hey, we really want you to go to this specific assignment in Tucson, Arizona. So you know how that story ends. And I was like, no, I have to speak Spanish there. I don't speak Spanish. I understand it, but like, you're setting me up for failure, and it's not good for the mission. And they're like, yeah, well, what can we do? And I was like, well, first of all, if you want me to speak Spanish, teach me Spanish, you know?
Yeah.
So they said, okay, let's do it. We'll send you to DLI in Monterey, California. You spend a year there at
Whoa,
the
cool.
program. Yeah, I was like, okay, for 1 year in Monterey, I think I could do 3 years in Tucson. Let's do it. Yeah. So I verbally said yes, but I purposely did not sign the official documents. And fast forward 2 months after that, I'm back in the States. I was like, you know what? I'm still about 5 months away from actually moving. I didn't sign anything. I want to step away. And I even went a step above and I found someone else to replace me that
Oh,
wanted
wow.
to go, that wanted to do the mission. And I was like, hey, just trying to make this as easy as I can for the Air Force. I found someone else. She wants to go. She has family in Tucson, the whole thing. They were like, no, you verbally said yes. I was like, yeah, but that's the purpose of the contract that I did not sign.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, well, you said yes via Nipper email, which is not on the secret side, just regular email. That is binding enough. I was like, wow. So, okay. It is what it is. I get it. So I went over to California, which is supposed to be a year-long program. And month 2, they said, hey, we're going to move you to Tucson now. I was like,
What?
whoa, our agreement was I would learn Spanish. You would teach me Spanish. What's up? So I called Tucson and I'm like, hey, I'm supposed to be moving there. And I guess in 2 months, I don't speak Spanish. Just so you know, I guess there's a mission for me to do. They're like, no, well, first of all, there is no mission in January. We don't want you if you can't speak Spanish. I'm like, this is a prime example of the DoD. This is it. I'm getting out. As soon as I'm done with this commitment, I'm getting out.
Yeah.
Uh, a lot
That
of other
the breaking point.
instances
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah, that
then
would be.
at that point, yeah, I made my decision. And then, of course, after that, once I have that negative, I'm just mad. There were just more and more things that happened after that, Um,
Mm.
yeah.
So you made the shift after that interaction with that organization. You said, okay, fine, my mind is made up. You made the shift. Once you shifted into real estate, um, what was that like going from W-2 to 1099, babe in the woods, butt naked, going like, what the heck do I do now? Because I don't have a chain of command telling me what to do. There's no missions. Like, I got to figure out my own shit. Did you land on your feet? I know you did because we're already talking on this podcast. But the mindset is what I'm really interested in, because so many agents go out and they want to be successful, but their mindset stops them on a consistent basis. Walk us through that process really quickly, and then I want to jump into the leads and how you started generating them from different sources, how you kind of when you got overwhelmed, how you handled that overwhelming. Because I know you've built a team and a crew. Walk us through that, because that's super interesting.
Yeah. Man, I was on such cloud 9. Like that day that I decided I would separate as I was getting my license. Oh my, I went to my car and I'm driving and I am like screaming with joy. I like I'll never forget it. I know exactly what cross streets I was on here in town. And like I
It's
was
freedom.
just
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yes, it was
Yeah.
freedom. I got my autonomy back
Oh, that's
and I could
awesome.
do whatever I wanted to do with my day. If I wanted to just sleep all day, which I don't think I could, I could. Yeah, but just the option. If I wanted to smoke pot, I could, it's
Yeah.
anything now.
All back to
So
you. Yeah.
yeah, and
Gosh.
and but that so I think because of the amount of anger, it really stemmed from negativity. That is
Mm.
what drove my mindset to just be like, "Hey, I can't disappoint myself, but I definitely can't embarrass myself," like in front of everyone else in the Air Force that was telling me, "Stay in, you only have 10 more years." I'm like, "10 years at my prime? No, that sounds
Right.
terrible. Send me to Africa when I'm fucking 80, not now,
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't want to go now." And then realizing just the uncapped potential of how much I can make. It's only dependent on me. No longer is it dependent on my boss and my boss's opinion of me and their boss's opinion of me that they didn't hear directly from me, that haven't seen me work. I just knew that I could provide so much value, but I felt like I just didn't belong in the military. And
Yeah.
I'm so thankful that I spent that time because I think that
So cool.
definitely still fuels me today.
Yeah.
So I spent some time with that overlap. The Air Force and the military has a program where you can start transitioning to do work outside of the military. The military still pays you, so in that way, if you decide that you don't like it, then you could just kind of find a new career before you just bounce, before you go all into that one career. Yeah, something
Interesting.
that Obama implemented back in 2012 or some shit like that. Anyway,
Interesting.
so I took advantage of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was to prevent the increase of homeless vets. So I took
Wow.
advantage of that. So I was
Yeah.
being paid by the Air Force, and I am, starting off my realtor career, and anything goes, right? Like I joined the correct group, which was all across the country, mind you. Nobody was here local in Tucson, but I just have the mindset of I'm going to figure it out. Before I even before I even go to you, Greg, or go to you, Alyssa, I'm going to YouTube it myself. I don't want to sound like an idiot. I think that's my biggest fear, is like looking stupid. So I'm going to prove to you that I have done the research. I have worth. I don't know. It's probably an internal issue for sure, but like
daddy issues, I guarantee it. No, I'm just kidding. I know them all. No, I'm just kidding. No. It is hard though, to go through just the mindset change, the belief. Like I bet you the freeing feeling of like, oh my gosh, I put all these limits on my life. I put all these limits on how much I could make and what I was capable of and what I was doing. And I don't know, somewhere along the way, we kind of feel that we're not worthy of it in some way. We lost kind of our worthiness of being a queen, or whatever whatever that queen means to you. But it's amazing when you get that feeling where you're like 100% committed to you and seeing what you are capable of. And like that feeling inside of going like, let's go, it's exciting. It's hard to get that, hard to find that. And sometimes, and I would say it usually does come from every other trauma. Like I don't care if I've got daddy issues, because it motivates me to try to prove him wrong,
Yeah.
Sorry, Greg.
100%.
That's okay, Alyssa. We love you. That's why we love your energy. That's why I like have Allie on. Both of you two beautiful ladies are just balls of knowledge, and you're awesome. That's why I like hanging out with both of you. I think you mentioned something, Allie, that's overlooked a lot, and you verbalized it very well. You said you were afraid of being embarrassed in front of the people at your last career that said you couldn't do it. That alone, overcoming that alone, is something that's more powerful than most agents or anyone who really understands that mental fortitude to say, you know what, Bob, Stacy, Rebecca, Phil, whatever your name is, Bob from Remax. We know we hate that fucking guy. But when they talk shit, you use it as a fuel, as an energy, not as a detractor from your mental stability, how strong you are mentally. You said, you know what? You guys are wrong, and I'm going to show you you're wrong. And you didn't look around. It sounds like you just put blinders on and you said, nose to grindstone, accomplish mission, nothing else matters. Let's go. Right. And I love that mindset. I respect that mindset. And that's why people respect you so far in this conversation. What I understand about you and your past is that is a powerful thing. Because when you said that, your countenance shifted. I don't even think you even saw it shift, but your tonality changed. And that was where I was like, okay, there it is. She found her trigger. That was amazing. So
the resourcefulness too is so necessary.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if there was one skill that I want my girls to know, my daughters, more than anything else, is how to figure out your way out of a hole. You know what I'm saying? Like really, that thing you said earlier about just I was going to figure it out. That there's something in that grit that is so necessary, that if you have that ability to figure it out, to be resourceful, like I feel like the best skill you could have right now that's needed everywhere.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
So Ellie, sorry, go ahead. I cut you off.
Oh no, I was going to say like how this translated to like overflowing leads that I couldn't handle is so I had purchased a couple of properties on my own, not just in Tucson, but, throughout the states that I've been living in with the military. So I knew what the process overall was like on the buy side, not on the sell side. But even within, I joined the right group. They had like the canned emails and, everything to like set me up for success. It was just up to me to just implement, which I can implement. I don't need anybody telling me, hey, did you make your calls today? Like, no, come on. Do I want to put food on the table? I'll make my fucking calls.
Yeah.
So
love it.
So yeah, I had the foundation, which was perfect. And then it was just a matter of telling everyone. And it was very easy for me to tell everyone because I'm on like this big middle finger, up in the air type thing. Like, hey, I'm leaving. I'm getting to real estate. I've already made more than I was making as a major. And
Yeah.
that's a lot for military life. And I thought like, oh man, I'm a major. I'm making pretty good money. And when I make the next rank, I'm gonna make another 10K. And
Right.
that's what I was trapped into. That was my like limiting belief at the time. I am worth only $108,000 or
Right.
whatever it was.
Mhm.
So I was telling everyone I knew, even before I got licensed, hey, I'm going to get licensed. When you PCS, when you move, please let me
Yeah.
connect you to a realtor.
Mhm.
And then I got licensed and it was just referrals out the gate and people moving in here, people spreading my name because they see my excitement about it. And then
Mhm.
it got to the point where I had so many leads that I could not handle it because I was still active duty. I still had a job to do.
Yeah.
So at that point, I was actually forced to create a crew. And could I have just found a referral partner here in Tucson? Yes, absolutely. But I had built out the checklist because I didn't have time to think, like I didn't have time. I just needed to do it was just all action.
Mhm.
And the last thing I wanted to do was think about where this person was, what else was needed. Did we get the inspections back? Did we get the appraisal back for this person? Oh, I forgot about that person. No, like everyone had a checklist and it was the same copy and paste checklist for the buyers, for the sellers that I personally created. And it was like, I wanted to take the thinking out of it. So because I had built these checklists from start to finish, specifically here for Tucson, Arizona, I was like, hey, I have this. And I doubt that anybody else in other brokerage is going to be like, okay, here, fine, send me a referral. And I have to use your checklist,
Yeah.
But I wanted my clients, which were my friends, being taken care of the way that I wanted. This is, I guess, my type A coming out, although I consider myself type B, which is funny.
Really?
Yeah. Every single time I
Okay.
take the test, it comes out type B. I don't know. It's so weird.
You're probably
So
multi-talented. Yes.
or maybe multiple personalities, who knows?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
we're not going to take that off the table.
Nothing wrong with that. Okay. No.
so, so I'm really big on social media, and 94% of my business has come from social media.
That's awesome.
So I'm putting it on social media like, hey, I'm a realtor. I have so many leads. If you're a realtor in this area, please let me know. I'm drowning. And like and behind me, I have a green screen of just phone calls after phone calls that are all red in my iPhone. Like I have not been able to even answer. I'm like, these
Oh,
are all of the leads. Like, this is not a joke. Guess how many people responded to that?
how many?
Nobody.
What?
And I
Nobody.
was like, how else can I scream this from the rooftops? I
Girl,
have so many
keep
leads.
talking to
Like,
it.
please help. And I don't know if people thought it was like, just spam. I have no idea. But
Maybe it is. Maybe it's like it's like it sounds like anything that sounds too good to be true. We've almost like, you know, can't believe it or can't. But I know, girl, like there's so many things I can think of that relate to that where you're like going, I'm giving you gold. I'm giving you something that's like real gold. It's real, like, missing money, Greg. How many times I've gone like,
Yeah.
it's not, it's really your money. You know what I mean? It's like you want to
Mm,
scream it, but nobody responds to you. Nobody. Like, there's got to be a way you say it. I don't know. Maybe they
yeah.
just don't trust us. I don't know. How do you build that? But you're
Yeah.
getting calls though, right? You do get call. I mean, nobody in the beginning.
Well,
Yeah, no, I was getting a lot of calls, and mainly there were people that were not in my specific sphere, but those in their sphere, right? And that's how
Mm,
social media came into play. So yeah,
mm.
I ended up going to more in person realtor events, and I was talking to agents, and I'm like, hey, if you're unhappy, please join because I have checklists, I have this, I have that. Just plug and play. You don't even have to think; you just have to do.
that's
So
awesome.
since then, I've
That's
grown the
awesome.
crew to like a little over 32 agents. And I fell in love with
Wow,
the prospecting part of it.
that's
Mhm.
awesome. You should be
Yeah.
so proud of yourself. And this is in a really a year, a couple of years now.
2 years.
2 years.
Fuck, dude. There are team members that will
God.
dream of that in a 20 to 30-year career, and you like you said, double middle fingers up in the air, going like, look, bitches, I'm going to show you how it's done.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
follow the path. I'll lay it out in front of you. Just do what I've done. And, that's just unbelievable that people just didn't even take you seriously when you're sitting there going like, guys, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in your pocket. I can do this. Like, quit your W-2. Like, follow my path. Let's go. And
And
everyone's
you
sitting
got
there
the
going
whole
like,
assembly
nah.
line ready, like the
Yeah.
assembly line of what you do. I love the way that you were like, look, let's just like cut, paste, make it a template. We're not going to do this again. Like, it's once I've done something one time, it's got to become part of the checklist. You know what I'm saying? That was really smart of you to just be able to just and then step
Automating.
back, because so many people spend their whole life like then managing details, managing people. Man, you can't go on vacation. You can't step away, but it's like you can, because you set it up that way. You know?
I can, I have, it feels good. And I think that, I mean, that's definitely one thing that the military taught me is the SOPs, right? Like the checklist. And so not only did I build out the how to help clients, but also the onboarding, because onboarding is very overwhelming. It is so much to do. So every single time I had a new link to save or anything to an action to take or somebody to talk to about, the next step, I put it on a checklist. Now that checklist is 200 items long. It's a lot. I mean, it covers everything. Like, there are no questions. Like, 200 step onboarding process, you're fucking set. That's for EXP though.
Do you use like Airtable, or does EXP have certain like type of tools you guys use for those type of checklists, or is this just straight up Excel or marker and pad?
Definitely not marker.
I'll do the
pad.
markers, but yeah.
I use
Airtable.
Trello.
I've seen a lot. Yeah.
I've never even heard of Airtable. I'll have to look
Oh,
into
you
that.
got to check that. I think you would really like. This sounds like your thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I use Trello because it's free.
Yeah.
Trello's really good. And I guess the real question is why. Hopefully, you're looking at opening a brokerage or just staying a team and becoming really independent. There are more agents than you can possibly shake a stick at. Once they hear about this stuff enough times, they'll come running to you in droves because you have the missing magic key to success, and it's the knowledge of what the blank to do next. Like, where do I start? How do I begin? What do I do when I get one? Like, what's my follow? What system should I use? And you're like, no, forget all the chatter out there. Because guys and gals who are listening to this, there's so much white noise of real estate agents and all the products they're going to try to sell you and vendors. Their shtick is going to be only one deal a year is going to cover the cost of my program.
Always.
Like, motherfucker, how many deals do I have to do to cover my cost? First off,
that's the truth. Yeah.
God. But second off, if you get with a team like Allie's team, that it's already built in. You have a supportive organization and group of individuals around you that have similar goals, and you guys get along. Why would you not want to explore that more often? Because that is something that there are a lot major brokerages will say they have it. I was the head trainer of my brokerage. We said we were a family. We were a dysfunctional, divorced family who never talked, and when we talked, we yelled at each other. I'm like, this is one fucked up organization. I desire not to be a part of it. But it sounds like you're definitely not on that path. You're on the path of success, light and bright, encouragement, financial freedom for the individuals. And that is what's needed in this industry. So I want to bump back really quickly. So you're getting these leads, right? And they're flowing in. You can't get them. And people are starting to call you now. What was the first experience like? When the first person picked up the phone, they said, "Hey, Allie, my name is Greg, and I saw what you're offering, and I would love to help you out." Was that astonishing? Gratifying? What did that feel like?
It was actually outbound instead of inbound.
Outbound, excuse me.
Yep. It was. So I was on Facebook groups of like study groups to pass the Arizona license. I was on just read the comment that I'm OCD. Yeah, maybe I am. I should probably get checked out. I was,
make it work for you. Just make it work for you,
girl. Absolutely.
Take your dysfunction, make it work.
Although ironically, it's all digital. Like if you look at my desk right now, you'd probably barf. It's pretty bad. But digitally, I am organized. I don't know. I can't make the switch into real life. But so I was outbound. I was like, hey, you're an agent, like join me. You don't have any bad habits. This is, what I offer. And I will say the word team would be technically incorrect because team like implies there's a split. There is no split. Like if I had a lead or a client to give, then it would be a normal referral. But other than that, like I'm not taking anything because I saw, like I was looking at and listening to podcasts, I was hearing that a lot of agents would get trained up and then they realize that they're getting paid the same as when they were brand new. They don't need the assistance anymore. Let me bounce and get a better split somewhere else. So yeah. So instead of getting like a 50-50 split, instead of 50%, I'm getting 3%, like 3.0. And that's just off of the revenue share from EXP. And that 3% doesn't even come out of that agent's pocket because that's how the model works. So it pretty much, we're giving you everything. It's like so abundant mindset. We're giving you everything because we pretty much know that there's no reason to leave. You have everything at the best price.
You have no idea how intelligent that move was. I mean, you do now, but that model will sustain you through the worst markets ever. And people will be thankful for the fact that you believed in them and trusted them and you're not gouging them. When people come to me and they're saying, well, I want to join your team. What's your split? I'm like, nothing. You just join me at EXP and you run you and I make money off the company and we thrive together. Like, well, there's other groups that they wanted to take 25 to 50%. I'm like, well, they're being an asshole. Let's be honest. So I love your mindset. Love it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Shut up. Continue.
Thank you. So yeah, it was a lot of outbound. I'm like, hey, this is legit. These are the people. Like, here you go. If you make it work, then it'll be a referral. If not, whatever. So that's how I started to gain more people. Then I realized that I became the trainer, the everything for brand new agents. And at that point, my business started to go down. Everyone's business started to go down because I am now the one educating brand new agents that are like, okay, sweet, I'll join. So at that point, let me see, where would I be? This is like my first 5 months in. I kind of made the switch because I realized, Shelby, what's up? Maybe I should probably not read these out loud. I lost my train of thought, man. Shelby.
But the shift, it was just your shift, from going, did you get distracted by almost what the organization saw in you and what they wanted you to do? Not organization, I should say, but where you saw a need for you, takes away from you being able to create, get the leads, right? For your group.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for putting me back on track. Yeah. So
sometimes I listen.
Yeah. So I started getting revenue share. And that is when I realized the revenue share that I was making was more than all of my rental properties combined. And I was like, this is a thing. I want to go after this. And I want to show everyone in my crew that they can too. Here I was spending so much time like renovating properties and talking to contractors and just wasting my time for a small ROI when I can do something that I like better, which is invest in people, talk to people, help them with their business. And the revenue share paid off way more than any of that. So, and the return on time was a lot better. So at that point, I went all in on growing the crew. And it sounds, I don't know, like maybe like very EXP, but I'm trying to tell everyone I know, but there's a reason everyone's so like gun-ho about this.
So let me back that thought pattern up 1 second. It's not an EXP thing. It's a real estate brokerage thing. Every manager is a recruiter. That is their fucking job, to recruit as many butts into seats. Doesn't matter how much they produce. Higher is better, lower is fine, because you know what? I make you coffee, you do a couple of deals, I still get paid. You are thinking as a broker, you're thinking as a business owner, you're thinking as a manager, you're thinking as a strategic businesswoman. It's not EXP. You are are you a broker or an agent?
I'm an agent. In Arizona, you have to be 3 years, so I'm not even there yet to apply to be a broker.
But too early. You already have the broker mindset. You have the success growth mindset. I feel fucking bad for the rest of your competing agents when you go to a broker status, you're going to go from ultra successful now to mega successful because people are going to come to you and they're going to see the gratitude that you have towards the agents. They're going to see your big heart. They're going to see your success track pattern. You're going to be a legend in this business because you have revolutionized something that has been monetized for so long. And agents have been just taking it on the chin saying, okay, yes, it's just the way it is. And you're going, no, there's a better way. Follow me. You will be a household name in the business if you keep on this path. I will make that proclamation right now.
Thank you so much, Greg. I really appreciate that.
He's the best. I just think he's awesome. I need Greg in my life.
Both of you guys.
I agree with him though. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's get back on to the storyline. Where were we?
Yeah. So as I'm getting revenue share, I realized very quickly this is 50% of what I would have made had I in retirement in the military, had I stayed in another decade. I made 50% of that in 1 year.
God.
Like, of course, we can't call it passive, we can't call it residual, but what? Like that just,
even if you were making the same amount, it's like thinking about what it does to you, your health, your mental health, when you stay in a situation longer than you need to, and know it. It just grains on every part of your life. So it's like invaluable, like what you did, priceless.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it was awesome just being able to just grind, just hustle. And then, I blew past what I was making. I made double my first full year of what I would have made had I stayed in the military with benefits and everything. And then on top of that, I have the revenue share. And so I'm just like now showing my crew, the agents and the downline, that they can do the same thing. And I love that they're also investors first. So we're all like a community. Pretty much all of us are investors first. So we already have that mindset of it's not just active income until we die. We are going to step away from the business at some point.
I think that's a healthy thing. I've met a lot of agents in my career that, there's this one lady, older Asian gal, and she was, I think, in her late 80s, and she kept coming into the office every day because she had to. And I saw her every day, and I'm like, oh my God, dude, like, when are you going to stop doing this? Because she was never trained or taught to do that. It was just keep on grinding through, keep on showing up 9 to 5. And the younger generations like you two are really embracing the let's work as a group hive mind towards a common goal independently, but yet support each other as a group. And a lot of folks they just never got that. They just never got it. So that's awesome sauce. Grinding is the key. No matter what it is, just keep on keeping on. Don't stop. You'll never fail if you don't stop. If you stop, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
That's simple.
That's what I was going to ask you too, Greg and Major Allie. But what are you finding right now with everybody? I'm going to call you Major Greg. No, I'm just kidding. You're not Major Greg. No. But I'm saying, what are you doing right now? What do you do on the daily to keep your mindset exactly the way you are? I mean, I know that it is just probably so innate, like for you, and it's routine, and I'm going to be this way. But everybody goes through stinking thinking time. You go through times of going, maybe I'm going to be one of the realtors out of that. Maybe it was just a fluke. Maybe it was a good year for me, and maybe I'm going to be out. But what do you do to keep yourself grounded? I'm sure that's a series of things, but is there something your kind of go-to to keep you mentally strong?
Yeah. So a couple of things. One I would say is sleep. Like back when I had insomnia a ton, when I was in the military, I really realized how much sleep plays into everything, every aspect of your life. So I go to bed at 9:30, like typically no later than that. I'm usually asleep by 10. I wake up and I, wish I could say that I just work out every single day and I get my pump on, and I don't, I did for a while. I go, I have my highs with my workouts and I have my lows. Right now I'm in a low. But what I do every day is I fucking work, like I don't have like an entire miracle morning routine. I wake up usually around 5:30 to 6. And it's starting to become natural now, ironically, instead of when I was in the military. But so I get up naturally like around 5:30 and I just sip on my coffee and I open up two things, which is my checklist to make sure every buyer, every seller, every agent is on track with the onboarding, everything. And I open up my tracker, which is how many conversations I have a day. So I analyze every single day of the week. How many outbound attempts am I having? How many inbound,
Mhm.
like actual conversations, appointments? I don't track how many closings I've had, how many agents have joined. I only track the leading indicators, and
Mm,
because otherwise it's I think if you're only focused on the lagging, it is easy to get off track and think, oh my gosh, I only had 3 closings this month, and if or whatever that number is. And then you can easily spiral, be like, "Well, I'm going to end up leaving the industry. I'm going to be homeless." And so if you just track what you can control,
that's a
that will
good
make you feel
one.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plan the
Funny.
effort. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're tracking everything and you're progressing nicely. You're seeing some successes. What do you think your next step is going to be? Are you going to continue on this role that you're currently in? This great, forward path that you've forged for yourself. What's next for Allie? And kind of what are some things that maybe an agent should hear from you right now that would give them a word of encouragement and maybe have them reach out to you? We're not ending the show. I'm just really curious about this. Like, what should somebody do to reach out to you to say, man, I've listened to the podcast. You are an inspiration. I totally want to be like you. If they're too nervous to reach out to you or they don't feel they're worthy to reach out to you, what would be a couple of pieces of advice that they could lean on until they do muster up the courage to give you a holler and find out that you don't bite and that you're very nice and that you want to encourage them?
Oh, this is what a good question. Okay.
Thank you.
I would say everyone has negative thoughts. Everyone. No matter, if they come on to whatever podcast and they say that they don't, they say that they're all hardcore and every day is just go go go. In the back of their mind, they're probably fueled by negative thoughts. I know I am. And I'm
Mhm.
just vocalizing it, and
Sure.
because I don't ever want to prove myself wrong, or again, going back to my fear of being embarrassed.
Mhm.
So I as long knowing that you having negative thoughts, top producers are having negative thoughts too. You just have to, yeah, every day. Yeah. You just have to
Push
couldn't
through.
just do what you can. You have to implement, you have to take action. There is nothing worse than the analysis paralysis when you are an entrepreneur. That will kill you. That will make you
Mhm.
go hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a tracker, and I'm happy to share the tracker that I have every single day. I'm happy to share the checklist too. So that's pretty easy to do. I've already made it pretty easy to share to others. I don't know. I'm happy to talk to people as long as I've seen that you've put in the effort. Going back to, I would never reach out to you guys with a dumb question. I am going to say there are dumb questions. If you can easily YouTube it, like, and maybe this is me sounding like an asshole, but I know this is like
No.
my own personal thing. I'm not going to
Mhm.
say, I don't know. I can't think of a question right now, but if I can tell that you put thought and you have taken action prior to, hey, I tried this thing. It wasn't really working. Where should I pivot? How should I
Mm.
pivot? That's a great question. Um, I know that like a really good way to get a mentor is doing that, like asking a higher level type question, doing what they say. That's step
Right.
2. And then step 3, going back to them after you've seen the results and say, "Alyssa, thank you so much. I don't remember if you remember me, but last year I asked you a question. I implemented that and these are the results. I just want to say thank you." Alyssa
Totally.
will love me forever, like
Always.
I will have her as a mentor.
Yeah.
And so a lot of
It's
people
so
just don't
funny
do
you say that because sorry to jump in here, but I do say that to when I consult people, with credit and stuff across the country. I do say at the end, like, look, here's the deal. You have an open door to me now. We've bonded, we've connected. Like you can treat me like I'm your nosy older sister, okay? Who has no life. You can text me at 2 a.m. I'm as single as it gets. Like I will be never reject you. However, if I don't hear from you for another year, and then suddenly you pop up and say, "Hey, I need some help with my credit again." We don't have that kind of relationship. You got to go back and set up another fee and pay another
Mhm.
fee and book another appointment. But I'm not going to ever charge you again in life if you treat me differently. If you are here, because and I didn't even realize I was really doing that, but exactly what you were just saying about being a mentor. If you want someone to mentor you, show up, listen to what they say. If you really, I mean, some people don't even want to give that kind of respect to somebody, but I'm telling you, the mentors in my life have made my life. The people that have stepped up and that I showed up for, that then took me by the side and said, I'm willing to get, there's people that are willing to give, but exactly what you said, you've got to do the work. You've got to listen to what they say. You got to show that you did the work. You got to come back and say, look, I did what you told me to do. I'm still here and I'm listening. And I'm telling you, you'll get people to jump over, do anything for you. You know what I mean? I know I would bend over backwards for anybody who tries. If you like me, I already like you because you like me. So we are going to have a good relationship. No. Anyway.
Yeah.
But I love it. Yeah. Good stuff.
All right. So Allie, sorry, go ahead. So I'm just, I want to keep going on this thought pattern with you. So you're bringing people in, you're not charging them an excess amount of money. You're encouraging them. You're giving them the blueprint and the playbook. They're reacting positively to it. Now you guys said that everyone kind of goes mentally into it as an investor. Secondarily, you're a real estate agent, right? How have you seen that grow in each individual independently, with, instead of saying I need to have my face in a yard sign or otherwise I can't pay my Amex bill or put food on the table or put clothes on my back, to building generational wealth potentially through the investment side and then parlaying that into their own deals and then 1031 and exchanging and just growing their portfolio? How does that mental shift in the agents, do you find that to be a more powerful mindset or a more lack mindset? I already know the answer. I just want to hear you say
it. Definitely powerful. I have seen agents join the crew that did not have an investor background or even too much of an entrepreneurial mindset, that have joined the crew, jumped in on our trainings, seen what other people are doing, spoken to other people within the 5 Pillars crew, and now they have a goal, or they've already achieved the goal of purchasing their first rental and seeing, what passive income looks like, as passive as it can get for properties, which isn't, but still, So I've seen that and I love it. So that's I don't know. And by the way, just in the very beginning, you mentioned where something that I charge them very little. There is no charge at all. It's zip. Yeah.
So I misspoke. I said that. I'm like, oh shit, I screwed up. But yes,
no, you're good.
Zero charge. So keep walking us down this path.
Yeah. So what else is next for me is growing on YouTube. If I were to have one regret with social media, it would be having focused so much time on Instagram and a little bit on TikTok as opposed to YouTube, because it's a search engine, because it's the number 2 website in the world and it's owned by Google, and Google owns everything. How could I have not been on YouTube? But that's okay. Yeah, I've just started now a couple of channels. So that is where I'm going. And I'm super excited. And especially since I will be moving out of Tucson at some point. So I might be going back into production wherever my wife and I end up moving to. Don't know. But yeah, we'll see.
Is your wife not from Arizona then?
No, she's from Minnesota. I'm from New York, and she
East
is
Coast.
Yes. Yeah. So I love DC. I'm trying to convince
Really?
my wife to go to DC. Yeah. I know. That's always the reaction that I get. Get the hell out of DC. I love it.
What do you like about it? I'm curious. What draws you?
Okay. So being from New York City suburbs, I'm used to the huge, New York, right? DC is cleaner than New York. It's more parts that I've been to. I've seen your face. I saw your face, Greg. It's cleaner than New York. It's smaller. It's slightly less overwhelming, and it's just young. It's our age. Because right now in Tucson, I'm with all the college kids, U of A, and the senior citizens that are looking to retire. There's barely an in between. No. So I just want to be Tucson. Around more.
Yeah. Got to come up to the valley a little bit. Yeah.
It's a fascinating shift, because with you mentioning that you and your wife want to move to the East Coast, go back to roots, right? and that you want to get back into production, I would be fascinated to follow that trek with you behind the scenes, because I mean, talk about something that's so interesting as a case study. You know, an individual started the business in Arizona, grew it to 30 plus people and expanding, right? In your company, your training program, 5 Pillars. By the way, phenomenal organization. I spoke with their group the other day. These are wonderful, wonderful driven agents. I mean, if you're driven and you're young and you're aggressive, you got to check these ladies out. But I mean, making that shift to go into active production after not being in production in a place you don't know in that realm of real estate to the extent that you know Arizona, right? That would be such a cool thing to study and look at. So cool to look at.
Yeah, yeah. I thought about the same thing. I will be my own case study, especially starting a YouTube channel in whatever city I'm going to be moving to. And then
Yep.
therefore I can confidently say to the agents in the crew, this is what you need to do to get leads. I, started getting leads when I moved there. So I'm interested to see how that goes, because I definitely do not preach anything that I haven't done myself. So another thing is, with our trainings, and back to the agents and their growing into an investor mindset, if they didn't have that already. We had Adam Carroll on. Have you heard of Adam Carroll?
Why do I know that name? I
He's
know that name.
He's a speaker, and I'm pretty sure he's written a book. He's a founder of the Shred Method, SHRED, pretty much like shredding your mortgage. And he spoke at one of our trainings within our realtor community. And I also want to say our realtor community, the 30 that have grown, we're in all over. We're not just in Tucson. We're in Pensacola. We're in a lot of states. So reach out if it doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah, you don't have to be in Arizona. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. The checklists still apply. Adam Carroll spoke, and he was talking about the Shred Method, which is a way to get rid of your mortgages by using a line of credit. And I thought it was a really interesting training that we had. And I was like, I don't know, this sounds too good to be true. So I kind of put it in the back of my mind for about a year. And then a couple of months ago, I decided to start it because I heard from somebody else in 5 Pillars that they did it. They paid off their mortgage in 4 months. I did it. I paid off one of my mortgages in 4 months. It's crazy. So I don't know. It's just like the mindset that we surround ourselves with. It's just like, here's a training. You have everything available to you. Just implement. Just do it. And
right.
So
that's the hardest part. That's the difference maker, I think. Yeah.
Well, it's the fear of failure, which you already have overcome, Allie. But these folks are going to fight their own battles mentally, because everybody's fighting something you don't know about. And I mean, I'm the same way. Like, I'm stepping into buying properties on terms, and guess what? I'm stuck in the mud mentally on this because it's not my wheelhouse, right? I'm afraid to step into this. I mean, I'm just an agent. I just have a platform, and I go through the same bullshit we all go through. And I know there's a fuck ton more money over there. I know it. I've seen the deals. I've seen the structure. I've seen the payouts. I've seen it. But I'm like, no, I'm just going to stick with my $20,000 a deal when I could make $150,000 to $200,000 a deal. I'm like, what is mentally blocking me? And I've really thought about it. And I want Allie and Alyssa, I want your thoughts, ladies. If let's use me as a case study, stuck in mud, knowing there is a crap ton of gold on the other side of that mud pit, but you have to learn how to walk across the mud pit. How do you help the people walk across the mud pit? That's
and Major Allie, you're going to have to be our therapist, because I have the same exact question.
Speak to us, my goddess. Yes.
We need help. Greg, you didn't know. This is therapy for Greg and Alyssa. Not with. It's for.
For. All right. Welcome to my classroom. Today, Allie the agent is. So I would say not usually, for starters, there might be too many distractions. Like, even though you have an end goal, like the journey, you might be thinking about too many different paths to get there. Would that be the case?
No, it's the fear of unknown. So mine personally is different verbiage, different protocols, different expenses, different things that are not in a traditional transaction. And so for me, understanding that, I'm like, okay, I know that I'm worth over $3,400 an hour doing my prospecting calls, right? So this is my wheelhouse. I'm comfortable there. Now I have to step out of that and I have to say something I'm not sure how to say. And that's what freezes me up. That's what I'm sure freezes a lot of people up. So it's not the multiple channels to get in. I'm in the channel. What do I do now? Now I know what to do. I'm just not doing it. That's my fucking problem. But it's that part. So I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah. So then going back to the more of the you have a mental limit. And I'm not saying you, but people, might have a mental limit like, hey, I am worth this amount, and not yet truly believing that you are worth more. You actually are worth that higher amount. And internalizing that part.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's your payments in the mail. It should arrive never. But I'm really glad that I was able to pay you.
You know what? I'll tell you what I feel like I took from you though is your big to track what you can control is such a major good line. I mean, I want to make t-shirts, right? Track what you can control exactly. And to focus on the lead prospecting. If you do nothing else but just focus on the prospecting, on the leads, on the beginning game. It's that, plan the effort, not the outcome. Okay. Then you're seeding. It's like you got your garden out there every day. You're just literally planting and planting and planting. But what you've done is taken your emphasis completely off of the harvest. And what most people do, I feel, in wanting to get rich quick or in wanting to be successful and having so much passion in them, they are solely focused on the harvest. And when they don't almost see something sprouting, it doesn't take long for them to start kicking back into it's not working. Yeah. We got to go back to the store to get new water and new plant seed. And they end up focused on the getting ready to again. And so anyways, they have this cycle. I know I do, where I get like very focused on the leads and the prospecting in the beginning. Then I have too many I'd say like negative thinking, too many negative Nancy's, too many calls where they're the same call going, yeah, nothing's going on. Nothing's busy. I guess the rates are high. And it kind of starts getting into that flow. And then before you know it, you end up going, maybe I just need to go back to the beginning and focusing on all of these things that are going to help me get leads. Anyway, you end up being focused on all of these other parts of the process that you can't do if you don't have leads, if you don't have real leads. And so I just feel like we do a lot of dancing around all the other areas instead of what I hear from you, which is you wake up with a lead tracker in mind of what conversations am I having? What conversations did I have? What's going to get them moved on to the paper of down that assembly line that you've created, to get them to closing. Yeah. If you're only focused on that funnel, that beginning, I feel like you can't go wrong. And I feel like that's where Greg and I might be, getting thrown off right now is we got to put almost all of our energy into that. And I know in the last couple of years, the way that the business has changed, I have less people to turn to. I have less team. It's kind of all on me. So the good stuff that and the bad stuff that I'm not good at, I don't really have as many people to turn to and say, hey, I'm not good at that here. I'm doing that too. So I don't know. I feel like we're getting too stuck into other parts of the process that don't allow us to do what is necessary. I don't know if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah. No. I totally get that. Yeah. Because at a certain point, whatever that bottleneck is, that's when I know that I need to hire out, or just expand. So, there are some agents on the crew here in Tucson that are just more, they like buyers more, they like sellers more. Right now I'm having a ton of seller leads as opposed to buyers. And so I need to focus more so on, just whatever the problem is. I want it to not be a problem as soon as possible. I want to find even if it's a temporary solution, because I can work on that temporary to make tweaks along the way to make it a permanent. And I feel like what a lot of people get stuck on is I want a permanent solution right away. But because that gap is so big, like I need to hire a full-time assistant or I need a full-time whatever. They just see like the bigger, I don't know, it's just more of a divide. It's more of a gap as opposed to just making tiny little tweaks along the way, just baby steps, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
it does. It does a lot. I want to end on one thing here. My girlfriend looked at me the other day. We were doing something in the backyard. We were putting in irrigation or some shit. I am not handy. I'll be real friggin' honest with you on that one. And she's like Miss Handy Girl. And I'm like, what the fuck? And
I'll figure it out. Yeah.
and she's like, Greg, I'm like, Jax, how the fuck do you know how to do all this stuff? She's like, Greg, I just think about the dumbest person I know. And then I think if that person can do said, project, I can do said project. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I got some people in mind. Okay.
She's resourceful though. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what, Ali, you've done so well. You're resourceful. You're a grinder, which is awesome. And that simple little tweak of knowing your true value, what you're truly worth, not what you're told you're worth. Yours was 5,000. Mine is 20,000. But we all know we have a higher purpose and a higher level and a higher ability to bring value to the world and to the industry and into our lives, to our spouses, our significant others, our children, our friends, our colleagues, by living your true self and not being afraid to shine brighter because you're afraid that you're going to make someone else feel bad, because you will inspire them silently because they're going to watch you push past boundaries that they haven't been able to do yet, and they will follow. They will, they will completely understand what your methodology is, and then they will build it into their life because you, Ali, you, Alyssa, have taken action, and I admire the shit out of both of you for doing that.
Ditto.
So that is fucking cool, Ali.
We love you.
You got so much shit to do. You got like 50 million people in your downline at EXP. You have 200,000 properties around the country you're managing, all with an app, and you're going to go out and make 200,000 phone calls today. So if people are going to get a hold of you, get into your ecosystem, get into your realm, right? How would people reach out to you? What would be the best way? And do you have any products or programs or any courses you're offering? How can people get to know you?
Yeah. The easiest way is text. I do not answer phone calls. I don't answer any phone calls ever, unless it's from my family. That's pretty much it. Or unless we're already under contract. Anyway, so the easiest way would be to text me, 520-341-2552. And if you want to if you want to book a call for the checklist, you can go ahead and text checklist to that number. And more than happy to share that with you after we jump on a call together. Maybe if you think that we're the right fit, if you think that you're like, or rather, if you know that you're driven, you're ambitious, you take action, you're probably like the perfect fit for us. So let me know if I don't know, if you're looking to switch brokerages.
There it is. I love it. Training programs. Do you guys do anything generally for the open public, or is it just behind the scenes with your crew?
Yeah, thank you so much for saying that. Actually, I don't even know if that was a leading question or not, but yeah, we have free trainings to all realtors. Free trainings for all realtors, no matter what brokerage you're in. They are Thursdays. We have script practice at 11:30 Eastern, 30 minutes, and then followed by a different Zoom link, which is a more formal training that Greg, you were on last week. And that's at 12 o'clock Eastern, and it ends at 1 o'clock. No later than. We respect your time. It's 1 hour, and that's it. But yeah, so 520-341-2552. That's my KV Core number. You'll just go straight to there. Or if you want to text me my personal number, that's 914-318-4918.
Perfect. There it is.
Awesome.
Alyssa, how can people get a hold of you? Where can they get some of your book, maybe a copy of your Color My Credit book, and where can they follow all of your information and videos?
Thank you. Okay, so my book is on Amazon. It's called Color My Credit. And if you just Google Color My Credit, you'll find me on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and all the social, also colormycredit.com. And I'm a mortgage lender for the last 20 years. So Glutz Group is where you can find me. I'm over at Guild Mortgage.
There it is. Guys, we have two of the most incredible young ladies I have had the honor to be on the show with or meet as a team. Go back and rewatch this, send it to a friend or a family member, someone who's thinking about getting into the business, need help with mortgages and or their real estate career. These two ladies will help you out. Trust me. I know Alyssa for quite a while now. I'm getting to know Ali. She and I are going to get to know each other more because I think she's amazing. So that's Major Ali, the real estate agent. She crushed it today with us on the show. I want you
to be a
guys,
regular guest. Okay.
She does. Are you free every Wednesday by chance? Because that would be super.
I could be.
Don't you tease me with a good time. Okay. But I want to thank you, Allie, again. Thank you for coming on. Alyssa, thank you for being the amazing human being you are. Everyone who's out there listening, we cannot do this show without you. So thank you for watching, listening, and spreading the word. Reach out to these ladies. They will help you in your career. But most importantly, until next time, peace out, ninjas. We gone.